Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, TSPRavshiva. And look, I've been keeping track of this story for a while, and there's something really strange going on here. And a lot of scientists and other people are saying the exact same thing, and just a lot of other YouTubers that, you know, do content on this stuff have been baffled as well. But Avi Loeb, who we're about to hear from, is going to be really interesting to hear from. He's a Harvard physicist that knows quite a bit about this stuff, and
Object
let's see what he
whirling through
says.
our solar system is actually a nuclear-powered spacecraft sent by aliens to test how humans respond. That's what a noted astrophysicist believes might be the case, and he says an image from the Hubble telescope backs him up. Most scientists agree that the so-called Three-Eye Atlas is a comet from another solar system. But Harvard scientist Avi Loeb claimed on this show a couple of weeks ago that it could actually be some type of alien technology. Now, that's a controversial opinion all on its own. But he's now going a step further, arguing that the Three-Eye Atlas could be a nuclear-powered alien spacecraft. Loeb says the Hubble picture appears to show the object emitting its own light. The object also appears to lack something that all comets have in common, and that's a tail. So what is this thing exactly? Well, joining us now is Avi Loeb. He's the head of the Galileo Project, director of Harvard University's Institute for Theory and Computation. He's also the best-selling author of the book Extraterrestrial. Great to have you back on the show. So you now say this is not only an alien spaceship, but it's nuclear powered? Why are you saying that?
Well, thanks for having me. First, I should say that if the light that we observe from this object is reflection of sunlight, its size needs to be bigger than Manhattan Island, 20 kilometers or so. And there isn't enough rocky material in interstellar space to deliver a rock of that size earlier than 10,000 years from now. So the question is, what is it? And its orbit, the trajectory that it takes, is aligned with the plane of the planets around the sun to within 5 degrees. That's a chance of 1 in 500. And moreover, the timing
What does that tell you? What does that trajectory tell you?
Well, it indicates that perhaps it was designed by some intelligence.
That's something steering it.
Not necessarily, but the trajectory itself was chosen to be such that this object will pass close to Mars, Venus, and Jupiter. The chance of that happening, the timing of its arrival is perfect for that, with a likelihood of 1 in 20,000. And so I'm just saying we should observe it. It doesn't look like it's a random occurrence. The size, the trajectory, the fact that it comes so close to 3 planets in our solar system, and actually it comes closest to the sun on October 29th, when the Earth would be on the other side of the sun. We won't be able to observe it. I'm analyzing right now the best image we have of it. We don't have any evidence for gas around it in the spectrum that was taken, but we do see some fuzz, some halo of scattered light around it in front of it.
We're looking at the image now. What does that tell you, that halo of light around it?
Right, so usually for comets, you see a cometary tail trailing the objects from behind because it's being pushed by the radiation from the sun. The dust particles are pushed to be behind, to lag behind the object. In this case, what we are seeing is a glow in front of the object. And I'm analyzing first if this is caused by dust. The amount of dust is very little. Over 6 months, the amount of dust that will be ablated from the object to generate this glow is just less than a millimeter thick. So it could be just dirt on a solid surface of such an object. And the question is, what is the nature of this object? Of course, as it gets closer to the sun, we would get a better view of it. And we could use spacecraft like Juno next to Jupiter. I spoke about it with Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna. She called me on the phone, and I gave her an update about the object, and she encouraged in a formal letter she wrote to the head of NASA, Sean Duffy, the Secretary of Transportation, to encouraging NASA to use Juno, which is next to Jupiter, to come close to Three-Eye Atlas when it will get there on March 16th, 2026.
So Juno could gather some data, take some pictures of this thing?
Yes, but also a camera that is next to Mars, because this object will come very close to Mars as well on October 3rd, 2025, and it will be within a distance of 29 million kilometers from Mars. And there is a half a meter camera that is currently used to watch Mars itself. But I encourage the team that operates it to look at 3i Atlas, and they can get a pixel resolution of 30 kilometers around this object, so we can get a better
Right.
sense of what the nucleus of this object is.
And super quick, Avi, is there any reason to be concerned about this?
Yeah, you never know if what kind of intent it has, and I think we should, in the future, have some international organization that decides how to respond to a visitor to our backyard, because that visitor may enter through the front door.
Avi Loeb, fascinating.
Thank you for
Wow, this is blowing my mind, guys. The more I take a look at this, and you see what he says, what's kind of heading towards the Earth. I mean, we have video now from the satellites that are getting great, or the best depiction that we can get of it. These are like satellite images and video. And when you look at it, you see this thing is traveling extremely fast. And also the glow that it has is something that's, they're not sure exactly what that light is. They can only assume that it may be because of the speed that it's going, that the surface of it is somehow emanating some sort of reflection. But it looks like there's a light actually emanating from it. So if it has a light source, that could mean that either the material itself is doing that, as he stated, whatever it's composed of, or it could be that it has some form of power that's technological, and it could be another big sign that this is something more than just a comet. Which everything that he said makes sense. Even the trajectory of this thing, on the path that it's taking, the ability to withstand the gravitational forces around it at the speed at which it's going is phenomenal. And the size of it, is also something that they're looking at. So you have all these different aspects of something that's so rare in our solar system, or it's actually in our solar system now, that's heading towards the Earth. It's going to be very close to the Earth. It's going to get to a point when it gets to the sun where we won't be able to have a clear view of it. But some people, and Avi Loeb suspects that if it does have some kind of propulsion power, it'll be able to kick that propulsion on when it gets into a place where nobody can see it. That would be on the part of the moon that we can't see, the dark side of the moon. What would be interesting, if this thing slows down as it gets here, let's say from 130 to 140,000 miles per hour, and then it slows down to a very slow speed, let's say 1,000 miles per hour, you'll know, there would be no doubt in anyone's mind at that point that this thing is not natural, that there has to be some form of intelligence behind it. And if that happens, I just wonder exactly like what that would be, and what would happen. And you keep hearing all these things about that date around October 23rd or 29th, somewhere around there. And the interesting thing is that's close to Halloween as well. So this Halloween would be really interesting. If you remember the Las Vegas aliens, where they found these 8 to 10 foot aliens that were in somebody's backyard in Las Vegas, and also the aliens that were in the Miami Mall. So imagine all of a sudden this thing comes here, or gets close enough, and all of a sudden we start seeing these giant aliens walking around the streets. I mean, it sounds crazy, but at this point, after everything I've seen so far, and I'm sure you guys have seen the same things I have, the weird Mandela effects, the simulation theory that's going around, the technology that we're having now, I would not be surprised if we see alien life forms, other types of creatures walking around the Earth, especially when we had the drones that were all over Jersey and all around the world. They started seeing them, and then they have these elliptical shaped metal objects that are floating in the air, and then when they land, they're being collected by the governments of countries and other scientific groups, and they're being studied to find out what's causing them to levitate. So, you have all these weird things happening in the world, and I'm just curious. I always feel like something, you know, life changing or on a global scale is going to happen. I'm just not too sure what, but it does feel like that. So I don't know if you guys have the same feeling that I do. Well, I'd love to hear your feedback. I just wanted to put this out there because I'm a big fan of this, especially since my own childhood incident of seeing UAPs, UFOs, and also aliens when I was a child. So this is a very big thing for me. Guys, I am TSPRavshiva. This is the Daily Sutra, and I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll be putting a lot more up as this thing progresses and I put out more information. I'll be doing some videos on speculation of this thing as well, and watch all my other videos. Tomorrow night, I'm going to have a good friend of mine on here tomorrow night, and we're going to look at some videos. He's a Qigong expert, so we're going to look at some Qigong practitioners that fought real MMA fighters, and maybe have a good laugh out of that. Alright guys, have a great night. I'll see you in the next video.